Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dane, your host. I hope that you're doing great wherever you may find yourselves, and blessings to all of you wonderful people out there. And welcome to a new playlist or series where I rank my favorite albums by year, a top 10 or a top 20. At first I was going to do 1967, let me explain. And that's because in 1967 we really see a shift in music trends and subgenres within the rock umbrella, if you will. Psychedelic music coming in, acid rock, experimental rock, a shift in the way that blues music is performed and stylized, and music just really getting heavier. Your proto-metal, your proto hard rock, if you will, if not downright hard rock, and prog rock, especially, I guess, or definitely there. And then I thought, no, let me do 1968 because this is the year of my birth. That would be a cool connection. And then I said, no, let me piggyback on the book Never a Dull Moment, which is a wonderful book documenting all the wonderful rock music and its many subgenres. With respect to those subgenres, a plethora of different rock music coming out in 1971. We've never seen the likes of that year again. And then I thought, no, I'm going to do 1981. So let me explain the foundations of that. In 1981, I am 13, and I am in 8th grade. And one of the albums you'll see today in my top 20 is where, and like many of the other albums I'm presenting to you today, but this particular album, my number one, is really where I saw a shift in my musical taste, in understanding how it is important to experiment with new music. And had I not given this band or this album or both a try, then my life would never have been the richer for experiencing such wonderful music on the album and with the band, and going back and listening to the early stuff and then going forward with their music from there. And while not as deep and rich with a plethora of, there is a plethora of music in 1981, but it's not as deep as what you get in 1971. But there is so much out there from 1981. So it's a seminal and important year for me personally. I'm loving life musically at this point. High school years are always difficult. But yeah, with respect to outside of school and sometimes in school, my musical taste again shifted, and just a renaissance for me with respect to going down certain rabbit holes for music. So let's get started. Coming in, well, actually, before I do that, I want to talk about some of the great albums that came out in 1981 that don't make my list. So you have wonderful albums like Standing Hampton from Sammy Hagar, Nature of the Beast from April Wine, Discipline from King Crimson, Breaker from Accept, Lucifer Friends, Mean Machine, going into a more 80s vein with them, Shake It Up from The Cars, Renegade from Thin Lizzy, Crazy Nights by Tigers of Pantang, For Those About the Rock by AC/DC, 4 and a 4, of course, Ghost in the Machine, Police, Spellbound, also Tigers of Pantang, my favorite Tigers of Pantang album, Take No Prisoners from Molly Hatchet, and El Loco from ZZ Top. All right, so let's get started now. Number 20, beg your pardon, is Don't Say No from Billy Squier. And my sister had this on vinyl. I did not, but she would let me borrow it. And great album, almost the greatest hits, not quite, but close. The standout tracks for me are In the Dark, The Stroke, My Kind of Lover, Lonely as the Night, 2 Days Gone is wonderful, and Don't Say No. Yeah, I know those are cliche choices, but those 6 songs, or Where It's At, that's the best part of the album. The other 3 or 4 tracks are wonderful, but they pale in a little bit in comparison to these wonderful 6 tracks. Next, 19 is Precious Time from Pat Benatar. Standout tracks are Promises in the Dark, Fire and Ice, the title track Precious Time, Take It Any Way You Want It, Hard to Believe, and of course the wonderful cover of the Beatles' Helter Skelter. Next, The Kinks, number 18, Give the People What They Want. It came out in 81 in the States, but I think 82 in Britain. It's heavier than some of their earlier stuff. I love for lack of a better term, their more English stuff like the Village Green Preservation Society, Arthur, and some other things. And in many ways, those are superior to their more American style rock and roll stuff. It's really hard to choose between when it comes to the Kinks, and that's perhaps why I've not done a video on them, because it's really hard to rank, But anyway, in this time frame in the 80s, 80, 81, 82, what have you, the Kinks are doing a more American approach to rock music, and you have, as I said, you have that heavier stylings, more American style of rock, and there's a level of English/American punk to what they're doing, sort of. The tracks that stand out for me on Give the People What They Want are the title track, of course, Predictable, A Little Bit of Abuse, Better Things, and my favorite, of course, is the hit Destroyer. That's that really kick-ass punk type song. It's heavy. It's just amazing. The whole album is great for me, but I love this album, so I have to give props to the Kinks here. Kind of a renaissance or a rebirth for the band at this point. No disrespect to their more English styling stuff, which is probably my favorite stuff, but I really like this album. This is my favorite album from the band in their later stages in their career. Next is Genesis number 17, Abacab. The title track is wonderful. No Reply at All, Man on the Corner, another record, the closing track, and Keep It Dark. And the whole album's great, I think, but those are the tracks that stand out for me. Let's see. Number 16 is Difficult to Cure from Rainbow. Let's see if I have... Yes, here we go. The tracks that stand out for me are as follows: I Surrender, Spotlight Kid, Maybe Next Time, the instrumental, Can't Happen Here, wonderful track, and then the title track, Difficult to Cure, which is really Beethoven's Ninth, a wonderful song, great song. The album covers an interesting story real quick, because that was originally supposed to be, it was Hipgnosis's idea for Black Sabbath's Never Say Die, but they didn't like that, so Rainbow gets it instead. All right, coming in at number 15 is... Sorry, I need this last page, I think. Beg your pardon. Yeah, here we go, sorry. Coming in at number 15 is Denim and Leather from Saxon. I remember turning on MTV because I had a few minutes before I went to school and high school, and this comes on, the live performance of Princess of the Night. I was like, oh, who is that? I have to check them out. Next thing you know, I have the album, thanks to my mom, and Princess of the Night and the title track are my two favorite songs here. Go figure. I know it's cliched, but it is what it is. But you also have Never Surrender, Play It Loud, Fire in the Sky. So Princess of the Night, she was the princess of, right? That song, Never Surrender, Play It Loud, Fire in the Sky, title track is where it's at. The whole album's great, but those are my 5 favorite songs on the album. I think there are 10 tracks in all. So what a great album. Number 15. Coming in, let me make sure I counted right. I did. I was scared for a minute. Sorry about that, folks, taking up your time like that. Okay, so coming in at number 14 now is Motley Crue's Too Fast for Love. Great album from start to finish. Live Wire, my favorite song. Motley Crue's perhaps heaviest song, maybe a tie with a couple songs on the follow-up. Come On and Dance is wonderful. Public Enemy number 1. Merry Go Round is one of my favorite songs by the band of all time. The guitar solo is exquisite. I just saw recently someone posted a YouTube short where Mick Mars can't hold a candle to some of the shredders in this time. You know, Tony McAlpine and Paul Gilbert from Racer X and Yngwie, and give me a break. Mick Mars is amazing. So, just my opinion. Take Me to the Top is wonderful. Piece of Your Action, Starry Eyes, the title track, On with the Show, Toast of the Town, Tonight, Stick to Your Guns. Man, what a great album. Great, great, great album. Okay, so that was number 14. Coming in next at number 13 is Whitesnake's Come and Get It. Still in their, Deep Purple-esque blues phase, if you will. Again, you have 3/5 of Deep Purple because you have Pace, Lord, and Coverdale here. Come and Get It, the title track, starts us off. Hot Stuff. Don't Break My Heart Again was the single. I had that on 45. I forget. I think Child of Babylon was the B-side. Yes, it was. Lonely Days, Lonely Nights, a hallmark of this part of their career, live, and a hit, if you will. Wine, Women, and Song, underrated. Child of Babylon, of course. Would I Lie to You, perhaps my least favorite song. Girl, Hit and Run, and then Till the Day I Die. You have some bonus tracks. This is the bonus edition, the remastered with bonus tracks series. Great album. All these albums I'm presenting to you here are great. So Denim and Leather was 15, 14, 13. Number 12 is Tattoo You. Okay. This is, to me, is a great album. You have Start Me Up, Hang Fire, Black Limousine, Waiting on a Friend to close things out. This is a 2-disc version. No Use in Crying, Heaven, Worried About You. Neighbors, a silly song, but I like it. It's quirky but fun. You take a chance when you do a quirky song like David Bowie does Kooks, and it's a miserable fail, but then you get a quirky song like this and it works. So wonderful album. It's a fun album, rivaling Emotional Rescue, but better than Emotional Rescue. This is the period where the Stones no longer having Mick Taylor, and it's kind of, I'm glad and not glad that the Stones didn't get Rory Gallagher. He turned them down, but what could have been, right, kind of like a parallel universe thing. But the Tattoo You, Some Girls, Emotional Rescue, Aftermath stages, the Rolling Stones, I don't think taking themselves too seriously, but having fun and having some kick-ass songs nonetheless. So yeah, and some fun songs, of course. All right. Coming in at number 11 is Iron Maiden's Killers, Paul Di'Anno Years, Part 2. The Ides of March, Wrathchild, perhaps my favorite song here. Murders in the Rue Morgue is no snooze fest. Another Life, my least favorite. But Genghis Khan, Innocent Exile, Killers, the title track is kick-ass. Prodigal Son, I think, is underrated. Purgatory and Drifter, a great way to close out the album with that double punch, that 1-2 punch. Miss Paul Di'Anno, both being in the world and as a musician, of course, and we were lucky to have him, even though he's only on 2 albums, and there's a wonderful shot of the band in their youth. So yeah, Killers, number 11. Number 10 is a Styx album, a concept album. No, it is not. Kilroy was here. It is the wonderful Paradise Theater, perhaps their last great album. Wonderful concept piece. When I was a kid, I would skip State Street Sadie and Halfpenny, Twopenny, and She Cares. And sometimes I would skip Lonely People. I usually now listen to this from start to finish. She Cares sounds like it's Tommy Shaw on vocals. It sounds like they're trying to deliberately sound like a Jackson Browne song, but it works. I just fell in love with Halfpenny, Twopenny about, I'd say in my 30s. I'm approaching 60, but yeah, Halfpenny, Twopenny really eventually found its way to my heart. And State Street Sadie is not a great song, but I appreciate it for what it is, and I get why they closed the album with that. And Lonely People is a good song, really. Of course, the hits are Rockin' the Paradise, Too Much Time on My Hands. There's a quirky song that's fun and works. I remember the video from MTV. Snowblind is also a wonderful gem here as well. I love when JY sings. I wish he sang more, but great album. Next is Van Halen's Fair Warning. I don't have this on CD anymore, but what a great album. Mean Street, Hear About It Later, Unchained. Push Comes to Shove, Sinner Swing, and Sunday Afternoon in the Park, the quirky instrumental, are the highlights for me. It's all good, start to finish album, but those are the ones that stand out for me. Next is, and I think I lost my place. Yeah, I did. Is Allied Forces from Triumph, Fool for Your Love, great intro song here with Gil on vocals. Magic Power, a nice acoustic ballad. Air Raid, really just a prologue or introduction to Allied Forces, the title track. The two are really one song. Kind of hate when they do that. And Allied Forces, you have Gil on vocals. It's wonderful. Hot Time in the City Tonight, an homage to Chuck Berry because it has that da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? It's great, though, an homage to the 50s and 60s. And then the two best tracks back-to-back are Fight the Good Fight and Ordinary Man. Have a epic feel to it, though not quite epic tracks. Wonderful lyrics, thematically rich, light and shade songs, and when it gets heavy, both of them are amazing, but even the light stuff is amazing. As Triumph is wont to do, Petite Etude, they have an etude here. It's a classical piece. It's wonderful. And then you have the wonderful Say Goodbye track that is the closer, and it's typical rock and roll fare, right? I'm leaving in the morning, can't stay kind of thing, Freebird, you name it, Living After Midnight. Not necessarily the same, but very close. One of my favorite albums of all time. Kind of a short and sweet album, but it is what it is. All right. Now, that was number 8. So number 7 is Black Sabbath's Mob Rules. Dio on vocals part 2, if you will. So much to like here. Turn Up the Night, Voodoo, The Sign of the Southern Cross. So back to back to back, 10 out of 10 or better songs. E5I50 and The Mob Rules, also a 10 or better song. Those are really one track. Just E5I50, as you know, which means evil, is that creepy, haunting, demonic voice with the boom, boom, boom thing in the background. I'm not doing it right. Sorry, it sounds kind of like a demonic version of Snoopy's tongue harp going at you. Then Country Girl is a song I do like. Slipping Away is probably my least favorite track. Falling Off the Edge of the World is good, not great. And then Over and Over is just amazingly heavy and light and shade all over the place, like the formula for, it's following the formula of the previous album, which had the closing track, anyway, I can't remember, but it's still that light and shade, and here's where Tony Iommi is switching in this part in his career, and earlier than this, with some blistering shredding style guitar solos instead of slow, sludgy type stuff, which I love too. I love both. And Lonely is the Word, there you go, is the song I'm thinking of. So Lonely is the Word and Over both end with Iommi just shredding his butt off. I love it. It's great. And of course, 1981, the movie and soundtrack for Heavy Metal comes out. Great soundtrack, by the way. And of course, Mob Rules is on that soundtrack. Great album. Number 6, Blue Oyster Cult's Fire of Unknown Origin. Great from start to finish. The title track is wonderful. Burning, perhaps inspiring the demon who kills Sam and Dean's mom in the TV show Supernatural. Burning for You, of course, the big hit here. Veteran of the Psychic Wars, about the Eternal Champion, the Michael Moorcock series of books. Soul Survivor, Heavy Metal, the Black and the Silver, about a black hole, space, and everything that evolves. The death by black hole scenario, if you will, the Event Horizon. Eric Bloom's voice is inspiring. Vengeance, The Pact, great song. After Dark, a good song. So I stand corrected. This is the only song I call good, not great. Joan Crawford is wonderful. Quirky, but it works. See a theme here. And Don't Turn Your Back, for many, is a snooze fest, but I'm quite fond of it. I think it's a great song. So anyway, I think this is a wonderful album. All 1981, everybody. Next, number 5, Point of Entry from Judas Priest, because of side 1 and the first song on side 2. Hard rock at its finest, proto-metal, maybe some metal here. Heading Out to the Highway, Don't Go, or it was metal at the time. Heading Out to the Highway, Don't Go, Hot Rock and Turning Circles, Desert Plains, the ballad, and then Solar Angels. You get a little prog goodness on that song and that side. And then You Say Yes is perhaps the weakest track on the album. All the way I actually like. Troubleshooter's not very good. On the Run I'm quite fond of. And the bonus track Thunder Road is okay. I love this album despite its flaws. Number 5. Number 4 is Journey's Escape. This came out when I was in 8th grade. Don't Stop Believin', as you know, Stone in Love, and Who's Crying Now. The 1, 2, 3 punch, if you will. Light and shade type stuff. Neil Sean shredding his behind off. Perry's voice is inspiring. The whole band is inspiring. Keep on Running is, I think, wonderful. Still They Ride, a great ballad, if you will, to close out side 1. And then Escape is so different from everything else that's on here, but it works. I love it. Lay It Down is quite good. Dead or Alive, my least favorite track, but I like it. Mother and Father, a slow and sad song, if you will, as is Open Arms. The mega ballad here. 10 wonderful tracks. Great album art. Great album. Next, coming in at number 3 is Ozzy's Diary of a Madman. I can't believe he's gone still. And I've taken that very hard. But what a great album. Over the Mountain, Flying High Again. You Can't Kill Rock and Roll. And no Ozzy, may you rest in peace. You Can't Kill It. Almost 7-minute song. Almost an epic track. I'm getting chills just thinking about that song. And then you get Believer, which is good, not great. Little Dolls is good, not great. Tonight is good. And then 7 and 8, SATO and Diary of a Madman are phenomenal. So the best tracks here are the first 3 and the last 2, and everything in between is good or approaching very good. But it's still a great album. This is got the bonus live album, Disc 2 Ozzy Live, with 11 wonderful tracks. Worth having this double CD set. We miss you, Ozzy. I miss you, Ozzy. Thanks for all the wonderful music. All right, so number 3, Diary of a Madman. Number 2, Def Leppard's High and Dry. Great from start to finish. This is their heaviest album. It's got a better production than the previous album. No offense to Tom Allom. That is a wonderful debut, but this is even more wonderful. This is a legendary album. The next album is good. The next album is very good, approaching great, but this is legendary for me. This is a masterpiece. It's heavy metal, perhaps for its day. Let It Go, another hit and run, are so heavy. High and Dry is heavy. Bringing On the Heartbreak, your ballad. Ending with the next song, it's really one song, Switch 625, where my understanding is where Joe Elliott plays guitar. So it's like April Wine. You have 3 guitarists on that song. I love it, so heavy. So the first 5 songs, with the exception of Bringing On the Heartbreak, those 4 songs in those 5 are just so damn heavy. It's wonderful. Perhaps one of the heaviest, definitely one of the heaviest albums of 1981. Then side 2, You Got Me Running. Side 2, not as heavy, more ballady type stuff, or heavy ballad. So You Got Me Running. Lady Strange is another full-blown ballad. On Through the Night's a nice rocker, actually. Mirror, Mirror, Look Into My Eyes is a ballad. And then you get some heaviness with the last song, No, No, No. And of course, the album ends with No, 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 repeated from Joe. Joe's voice is uber heavy. I love it. This whole album is inspiring. It's inspired. The whole band is on fire. You got the wonderful Pete Willis here doing his thing with Steve Clark, the twin guitar goodness. One of the best twin guitar albums of all time. Horrible album cover. I think it's Hypnosis, go figure, but wonderful music that is contained within. And finally, you probably know this if you watch this channel enough. This is the album, before I show it, that sparked my shift into wanting to experiment with different styles of music, different styles of rock music. And this is a shift for the band. But the album that came before it is foreshadowing what's to come here, because the previous albums that came were hard rock, heavy prog. This is still heavy in its own right. It's still progressive in its own right, as is the previous album, but it's more accessible to those who don't like prog rock. Of course, I mean Rush's Moving Pictures. great from start to finish. You know the drill, right? You know the songs. I mean, Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, YYZ, Limelight, one of the best, if not the best, side ones of all time. You have Tom Sawyer, which nothing sounded like this ever before, and like I'm all in at this point. Red Barchetta, great, compelling intro that fades in and gets higher and higher in the mix. YYZ, one of the best instrumentals of all time in rock music, and the stellar and goosebumply Limelight, which gets me every time. The ending with that flourish is phenomenal. The Camera Eye, I've spoken about this just recently, I believe. 11 minutes or 10 minutes of pure goodness, A Tale of Two Cities. The riffs from Leifson and the solos from Leifson are amazing. The percussion from Neil is amazing. And Geddy's all over the place with wonderful bass, keys, and synths, and Taurus pedals galore. Witch Hunt, a great heavy rocker in its own right, creepy but yet thematically rich about racism, and then perhaps the next song, foreshadowing what's to come, which signals the wonderful, wonderful Vital Signs, musically, lyrically, and sonically. The drums, some of the best drums Neil has ever done. His fills and flourishes and kick-ass drumming is just, it's so heavy. I have to get up and air drum when I put this on, and air guitar and air bass, and switch between the three. Geddy's voice is the nonpareil here. This is where he is at his best. There are others, but this is the best of the best. I mean, what a great album. So there it is, everybody. These are my top 20 favorite albums from 1981. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye now.